Okay. Hello to Liz Green. Thank you very much for joining me today. I appreciate your time. Today we're going to be talking about your experience with the Copywriting Master Class because I'm opening it up again soon. So thank you very much for joining me today.
You're welcome. I'm very happy to be here.
I've just introduced yourself a little bit, Liz Green, but I would like you to introduce yourself to everyone watching this, who you are, what your business is called, and who you serve.
Okay, well, I'm Liz Green. My business is Whiz Bang Writing, or it's actually Whiz Bang Writing Solutions, but I think that solutions gradually got chopped off.
Nice.
And I predominantly work with small businesses or digital agencies, and I have, in the last 12 months, I've niched into web copy. So no particular industry, but I just seem to do mainly websites.
Yes, I think that's a pretty common thing of a modern copywriter is more and more businesses in their online marketing need support from their copywriter to know the online space. Now, we were just talking and we said that you joined the Copywriting Masterclass in September 2017, and you were like, oh no, I'm still doing the course, which I think is a perk of the course. But I want to talk about where you were at when you started looking around for a copywriting course.
Yeah, well, I had done some copywriting training already. I'd been running my business for about a year, and it had just around about September 2017, it had just taken off in the sense that I was getting lots and lots of work coming through.
Nice.
And so I started to have the, do I really know what I'm doing moment? And, you know, I'd been following you for a long time because of the Hot Copy podcast. And I've been sort of cyber watching your course launches and thinking, oh, is this the right one for me? And what I was really looking for was a resource that was going to come with me through the next stages as my business grew. And the training that I'd done previously, it expired, the content expired, which is, you know, not very helpful when you just want to dip in and you might do something you haven't done for a while and you want to dip in and make sure that you're up to date with, you know, what's happening or a particular way of writing or something like that. And I couldn't find that except for your course.
Awesome. Because I know with the copywriting resources that I use all the time, it's, you know, the more experience you get as a copywriter, the less you have to think, all right, so how do I write a headline? How does a page get structured? What do I need to think about when I write a call to action? You know, in the early stages, even early years of doing your copywriting, it's good to go back to the technique and kind of refresh your memory on how to do those things.
Oh, absolutely. And you work with different clients who want you to take a different approach, which is sometimes not the way that you have trained and the way that you work. And I find that jars me sometimes, and I need to just go back and go, no, this is the way. Their way was fine. That's what they wanted, but I don't want to lose track of what I'm supposed to be doing for, you know, everybody else.
Yeah. And do you still reference the material in the course even now?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I do. And I mean, that thing about not having finished it was more embarrassment in front of you. But I mean, I just go in when I need to refresh something, or there's a part of the course I haven't dipped into yet. I just do it when I can. I drove 3 hours the other day, as we were discussing, and I just played your lessons while I was driving. So obviously I wasn't doing them, but
letting it all sink in.
Yes, that was my theory. So thanks, company on that long drive.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. So when you were looking around at a course, you know, I know some people who are looking at my course right now will have some reservations. And I think that's completely normal because when you're looking at your different options, you know, as we know as copywriters, you're trying to find a short list. So do you remember the things that might have stopped you signing up, that made you go, no, I don't know about this?
Yeah, there were two main things. One was I wasn't sure if I was at the right level to join the course, this sounds really big-headed, but whether I was too experienced for what you were offering, or whether I was not experienced enough. So that was my first one. And the second one was the investment, because, you know, again, only just over a year into my business, and I was thinking, you know, should I put this much money into one course? Will I do it?
Yeah.
Will it actually be all that it's cracked up to be? Yeah. So those are my two main objections. Well, only two really.
Yeah. And what did you find when you started? And is that different to how you found it as you've been working through?
If I address the first one, the experience one, I think you've done a really good job of targeting all different levels of experience. So you've even got that little quiz that helps you determine what level you're at. That was helpful, but it was more just looking at the content that was there and realizing that whatever stage I was at, I could apply it to what I was doing. So that concern completely wasted. No need to have that concern. And with the investment, I laugh because it seemed like such a big investment. But when I got into the material, and then I had the coaching calls, and also we have access to you that's really valuable, I think. You don't put up a big wall between us and you. Being able to get feedback on the lessons, it's just the value far outweighs the investment. So yeah, that concern also dismissed.
That's good, but it's still a valid, reservation, because it's hard to invest in ourselves, and it's hard to say, well, I'm going to spend that money on me instead of other things in my business, or other things that my family needs, or other things that I need. So choosing ourselves above everything else is really tough. So, sitting down and thinking about whether you're going to get value for money is a really important part of the process of deciding what you're going to invest in. I'm a big believer in investing in yourself. So I'm so glad you made the decision. And so you mentioned the coaching calls.
Yes.
What else have you found that you would highlight to someone thinking about the course as valuable aspects?
That's a good question. So to begin with, the access, I really do feel that the access to your feedback is right up there, because it's just another way to check if what you're doing is actually what you think you're doing.
Yes.
And I don't mean like, people are messaging you every 5 minutes, hopefully not anyway, but just that I know that I can just pop into look, there's the forum, there's the Facebook group, or I can email you. That's 3 easy ways for me to just get a little bit of guidance or feedback. So to me, that's right up there as a huge benefit of the course. I love the lifetime access, as I've already mentioned, because 2 years later, I'm still going into the course. The other thing about that is, so often we buy these online courses and then it goes into the file of online courses that, instead of motivating me, turn into like something I want to hide from, because I have guilt that I haven't done the whole thing. Or whereas, because I know I have lifetime access and I can keep dipping in and out, I don't feel that sort of dread. Oh no, there's an email from Belinda, she's gonna know I haven't done the course. I think quite the opposite, actually. It's like, oh yeah, what's going on now? Oh, there's sometimes you update the material when you're getting ready to release a new round of the course, so that's also really beneficial. Just
recently I created one PDF with all the lessons and all the worksheets in, because people were saying, look, we're trying to print off each lesson, but it's kind of tedious going in and out of the dashboard to do it. Can you put it in one PDF? And I was like, yeah, sure. So the good thing is that you did the course in 2017, you started it, and you've got access to that PDF now. And you've got access to the recent overhaul where I broke down all the lessons into smaller chunks. Yeah. So you start the course, you get every iteration of the course.
Yeah. And that's my other one, is the way that the lessons are broken down. So I never have to think, oh, I can't spend the next half an hour that I've finally got free to do some training because it goes for 4 hours. You know what I mean? I can dip in, I can do a couple of little sessions, digest that, go back to what I was doing and dip in again. So
awesome. Yeah. I'm glad, because that was, one of the things I've thought about as I've developed the course and redesigned the course and keep updating it is, how do I like doing courses? Because I do courses too. And how do I like consuming the content? Because I'm doing it around my kids. I'm listening at the park. I'm, trying to do it in small sections of the day as I'm driving and things like that. And so my big thing is I'm trying to create a course that can be accessed in the way that I need it to be accessed, because I'm very selfish like that. I assume everyone's got the same challenges.
Yeah, well, same, different, but the same but different, something like that.
Different. And of course, you've joined my Confident Copywriting community as well, which is the next step of the course. And I love having you in there as well. So, I feel like the Copywriting Master Class is about the writing and only the writing. And then Confident Copywriting is more advanced writing and focusing on your business. Now, a question for you is, did you feel the course lacked anything because it wasn't about invoicing and branding and things like that for your business? You had already started, of course.
Yeah, and I'm quite active in the face-to-face networking of small business scene in Perth. I wasn't to begin with, but I made myself, and then I ended up creating a networking group like somebody else I know. Yeah. And all that stuff I was already very familiar with because I'd done it. I had actually run a business before, so I knew about it, but there's so much stuff available in, training and what have you that, to me, this was about honing this particular skill. And I actually probably would have been disappointed if some of it was taken up with business skills, because that's not really what the course is for me. That's not what why the course was appealing.
Yeah.
And I think there are plenty of places you can go. Also, depending on what country you're in, it's going to be different. So it would be
that's true.
A course on its own, really, for you to, guide everyone on their invoicing and what have you. So no, that was not missing.
It's one of those things that, if I'd put in everything, everyone would still be doing the course forever, because it would just be too big. But, you've got to end somewhere. And I made the conscious decision to go, this is about writing, not because it's very easy to get distracted with all the other things that we have to do to become freelance copywriters and grow our own business. So it's just about the writing, which is good. So,
and there's no waffle. I have done online courses in copywriting that were just so full of waffle to fill up the space. Yours is a waffle-free zone as far as I'm concerned.
I love that, because you've talked to me a lot and I tend to waffle. So I'm really glad the material itself is to the point and only the point. I saved my waffle for the coaching course. So who would you say, based on your experience, who would you recommend this course to? Who do you think it's a good fit for?
That's a good one, because I recommend it fairly regularly.
Like that.
I've got two sets of people who I personally recommend it to. One is fairly occasionally actually, I have people say to me, oh, I'd like to do your type of business. What's the first step? And I always say, get some quality training, find a way to invest in this course, because it will take you along the journey that you want to go. And the other one is other copywriters in my sort of network who I either know online or I know in real life, who are looking for somewhere to go for the same reasons that I was, to try and make sure that I'm growing my skill set and honing my skill set, not getting caught up in, oh, there's lots of work coming in, but, you know, not developing myself.
Yes.
So those are the two groups that I fairly regularly recommend.
I love that. I love that. And I appreciate every recommendation you give as well. So, you know, so we've got aspiring copywriters who don't really know where to begin, and people who have maybe been copywriting for a little while. And I often think about it as, you know, if you're feeling a bit shaky on your skills, because there's a lot of technique and there's a lot of science that goes into really good copywriting, and people who are really good at their craft have come from a really solid foundation in the basics.
Yeah.
All right, that's my dog snoring at my feet. So I want to thank you today, Liz. I want to thank you for sharing your experience and being such an active member of the community as well. And even though I haven't sent you that certificate and you don't feel like you've finished, I think you are sucking the marrow out of the course. And I think that's what's important. So I really appreciate that.
I didn't realise I could get a certificate. I'll just finish it on the weekend.
Yes. I can get a certificate, and it's rather awesome, and I sign my name.
Good Lord.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to let you get on with your day. I really appreciate your time with me. Thanks, Liz.
Okay, thank you.